Hey everybody, JustinWatchesMovies here. Before we get into this review for Detroit, stick around to the end of this video for a shout out and learn how you can get a shout out of your own. Detroit is directed by Kathryn Bigelow, who directed previously Zero Dark Thirty and the Oscar-winning film The Hurt Locker. Detroit centers around the 1967, one of the largest race riots in the United States, and this tells a story of men and women that were brutally beaten in the Algee motel that are trying to get a confession by the police of an alleged shooting at the cops. This eventually leads into an interrogation of the men and women involved and a legal battle surrounding it. Kathryn Bigelow has directed some true stories before. I really enjoyed The Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30. So going into Detroit, I was really excited, but also at the same time worried how I would feel at the end of this movie. I thought Detroit was crafted very well. Detroit is told in three parts. It has the beginning of the riots and how it kind of set up the people at the motel, and then it leads into the last part of the film, the legal battles and the interrogation. I think each part did a great job of setting up the next part of the film. In the beginning, she mixes her own footage and real life footage of the race riots in 1967, and it captures a realistic feel to the film and kind of just sets up how people are feeling about the cops and why some of them are rioting and looting and how people are afraid to be on the streets. And it leads into this group of men that are performing at a show and they want to go to a motel where they can lay low. They meet some girls. They go to a different part of that motel and then things happen and the police are involved, and that's where they are held up against the wall to where the cops can get a confession from them about where the gun is in the motel and who shot the police. I think the middle part of the film is definitely the most emotionally draining part of the film, because I'm watching this film just thinking, how can people treat people so badly like this? Humans have rights and they're just not acknowledging their rights at all in the middle part of the film, and I think that's the most emotionally draining part of the film, the most frustrating part of the film. And then it leads into the third part of the film where you just feel angered and you feel something for these characters, that you just want them to have justice and you don't want them to be treated like that. So each part of the film definitely does a great job of making you feel some kind of way and then building on that. We get a lot of great actors in here like Will Poulter and Anthony Mackie, Jason Mitchell, Jacob Latimore, and John Boyega. And I'm someone who has put much thought into Will Poulter. He's given some mediocre performances in such films as We're the Millers and The Maze Runner, but here he turns that around for a career best performance. You really, really hate this guy. He's a racist cop who it feels like he needs to be in control of the whole entire situation, be the big macho man. And that's all due to Will Poulter's acting. I think he did a tremendous job. You really hated the guy, but props to Will Poulter. There's a great supporting cast like Anthony Mackie and Jason Mitchell. Even though their screen time was very limited, I did think they gave powerful performances. And then we had John Boyega, who I thought was pretty good in the movie, but I felt like his character didn't offer much, and I think that they just kind of scrapped some parts that really could have added more to the character. This film is really long. It's 2 hours and 23 minutes, and that sometimes it does drag a bit. I feel like certain scenes could have been trimmed to cut down the screen time, because I felt like some parts of the film were a little unnecessary or a little bit repetitive. So if they trimmed it down, I think it could have cut down the runtime a little, and some parts could have felt more effective. Overall, I thought Detroit was an emotionally powerful film with some great acting. Kathryn Bigelow crafted this film very well, where each part of the film built up for the next part. It made it feel important. I'm going to go ahead and give Detroit a B+. Have you guys seen Detroit? What do you think about it compared to other Kathryn Bigelow films like The Hurt Locker, Point Break, Zero Dark 30, just to name a few? Alright, if you guys stuck around to this video, I thought I was going to give a shout out. If you guys watched the video previously, earlier in this year, I said I started Patreon. Nothing had happened with that Patreon. I had 0 donations. I wasn't really expecting much for it anyways, but someone just donated $5 towards my Patreon, and if you are donated $5 on my Patreon, you would get a shout out on an upcoming review. So I'm gonna go ahead and give a shout out to Kelly Marie Farrell. She became my first Patreon, and I really do appreciate that someone out there had considered donating and helping to my channel. With that $5 per month, I can put it towards something to help me grow this channel. If it's new lights, new camera, if it's new camera equipment, new stands, whatever it may be, anything that will help this channel grow would be greatly appreciated. If you guys would like to check out my Patreon, that link will be down below for that. There you can learn of different options of payment and different rewards for that. Anything would be greatly appreciated. So thank you to Kelly for being my first Patreon. Her link will be down below for her channel. She does not have any videos, but she may be starting something very soon. Thank you to Kelly once again, and everybody who watches my channel. You guys are the best as always. This is Just Watch Movies, and you stay classy, YouTube.